Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. In today's webinars, we are fortunate to have Human Kiali, one of our Revit specialists, as well as Kroll Kozlov, one of our Revit developer, join us today to introduce our Revit plugin phase 2 that was just released earlier this month. So with our Revit plugin phase 2, now our users can export Revit Family as well as its counts from your Revit model to Fohlio so that you can then further use it to do budgetings and specifications. And on top of that, I will also introduce the latest live version release feature, and as well as some of the exciting enhancements on the quantity and procurements. So now let me actually pass the mic to Carl.
Hello everyone. So today we are going to show you how Edit works. And I think before that, Human is going to say a couple of words.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Hoibin. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited actually to show you the new features of our Revit adding. Carol and I we've been working on this for quite some time, and we're excited to share some of these improvements. If you have any thoughts or suggestions with us, please share them. So basically, the Revit adding have two main functions: exporting from Revit to Fohlio and importing from Fohlio to Revit. And today in this demo, we will be focusing on the exporting process, which will be basically exporting any type of parameters into your Fohlio account. And later on, in a different time, we're going to be setting another session for the importing schedules features. And Corel is going to start demoing the adding now.
So as you can see right now, we've got no elements in our dashboard, and also we've got no errors except only for 3 errors that define our flows. So now we go to Revit.
So the project in this demo is basically one of the projects that I was working on in my university days. The project is the library in Nicosia, Cyprus. And yes, please continue.
All right. First of all, let us select a project at which we'd like to export our data. Let's go for a simple project. We're going to do some export. All right. And in this first step, we've got all the rooms collected that are available in the model. So from here, we've got 2 options. We can manually create areas here. You can just create name whatever you want. Alternatively, we can just associate a particular floor with a level in Revit and do some auto mapping. And that's that easy.
So yeah, and this step basically is just mapping these areas into your Fohlio account. And if you don't have them already set up in your Fohlio account, you can just easily create them with the auto mapping feature. And in the next phase, it will show you each family and these accounts that's been selected. Sorry, in these areas.
So right now, what we've got to do is to associate family types to Fohlio divisions. Actually, it's quite simple as well. We just need to select what kind of families we'd like to export. Let's say we're going to map M-chair, Corbett chair to furnishings, and maybe M-chair desk as well, furnishings. Yep. After that, maybe sofa. Oh, sorry. Some generic models. Let's say structure might be pink. We can select anything from this drop-down list, but let's just also assign it to furnishings, and maybe a couple of doors and assign it to openings. So I think it's also crystal clear how it's done. It's very simple, and we can do that only once, because everything else will be saved afterwards. And let's just select. Actually, we can only select family types that have been mapped. Otherwise, it's just impossible. So you can't make any mistakes.
So basically in this tab, we try to categorize your view so you can easily find any type of Revit family that you're looking for, including any custom-made Revits as well.
And finally, in our last step, all is left is to assign Fohlio columns to particular Revit parameters. Let's say we've got to associate family name with product type and identity date. So we're going to associate URL to type name to product name and model number. Yep. And I think that's it. That's simple. Nothing
So
unusual.
the last step, we try to include as much as we can from the parameters so that any type of information you already have in your Revit families, you can easily import them. At the same time, we took a lot of feedback to try to include the most important or commonly used parameters.
And I think we are done. All is left is to click the export button, and the text is in progress. What's more, we can continue working on the model, and yep, that's it. Let's go back to our dashboard and check the results. So, yep, everything that has been selected has been exported, and these right numbers with the right quantities, as you can see. Abstract chair, let's just check it. So we've got abstract copper. Let's go back to our plan. Yep, there are only two in this. So, yep, only two, and they belong to entrance. Yep. Yep, I think that's it.
So basically the exporting process depends sometimes on the number of families selected and the size of your project. So it differs from project to a project. So we have other features included. So I would like to ask you, Karel, what happens if we move some of the families from a space to another space or from a room, and will that affect of the quantity exported to the Fohlio account?
Yes, of course. So let's just do that. We can remember that family abstract copper. Let's just delete it and repeat the whole process. But because everything has been saved, we can just use the top button and everything will be selected, even without expanding every tab. So right now you can see everything has been saved. Just click continue, and the same here. And then it's data. Yep, that's it. Once again, export.
So it auto like basically stored what has been exported so far from your Revit model to Folio. You can just keep the original setting, or you can add a few more things when you do another export.
Exactly. The adding syncs the settings that you already worked with before, and at the same time, it updates your Folio account with any of the new changes made on the Revit project.
Great,
So
amazing.
go to the dashboard and see our changes. And as you can see, there's only one element right now. and it's in the right row.
So basically, that's the whole overview of how the adding works. Please, if you have any suggestions or questions, let us know. You can also reach out to us if you need any explanations or a private session for us to work with you on the Revit adding. That's it. Huibin, back to you.
Thank you so much, Carol and Human. Thank you for the great work and the latest plugin. And as we have been telling all our users, we continue to improve our products per your feedback. And we are actually planning our Revit plugin phase 3. So please do reach out to us if you want to participate in trying out Revit plugin phase 2, as well as give us some feature suggestions for phase 3. You can reach out to us directly on the live chat and mention Human, and he will be happy to jump on a session with you. So next up, I'm going to share my screen and go over the other new feature. So one is the version release. And so some of you might already noticed, now in your Fohlio account, there is a new button called Release. With a lot of design firm, you might have standard release phases. I'm sorry, let me go back to the account. So first of all, you can set up in the release settings some common release phases you use. For example, DD, SD, 50%, 100%, etc., etc. Okay, so this is completely customizable. And then whenever you're ready to make a new release, just select the relevant products. You can select by area or select any single categories, or just select individual items. And make a new release. When you make a new release, please do put in what's the release number and which phase this is attached to, as well as any changes, like you want to take notes. Okay, please note that this release have changes in this and that area, and what's the reason of making those changes. So you can put in those informations and then hit the release button. So auto release history can be also achieved. From here, you can see who made the release and what's the reason and the date. We also recommend that you add these 2 new columns if you use the release function. One is the release number and the other is the release phase and date. Those can be also added in your presentation. So when you actually issue a new release to a client, and those informations can be included in your presentations. So that's all for the new release. And next up are the enhancements on the quantity and our procurement features. So that is particularly probably relevant to a company who handle a lot of procurements. So now we have advanced settings under the quantity columns, so which allow you to overwrite our calculated quantity. To give you an example, if you are doing budgeting or procurement for a large hotels, and you have 100 cream room, and each cream room, for example, have 2 chairs, but there's one cream room have ad hoc floor plan because at the corner of the building you can only put 1 chair, and that. So you can overwrite the calculated results from the Fohlio. And for example, here, instead of doing we calculate 30 chairs, I'm going to make it 29 because one room has really odd shape. And now you can use this override quantity to do the actual procurements. You can also use override, for example, to budget in any extra buffers you want to put as a spare in your project. And so this calculate how many quantity you have to buy, but things sometimes don't come in individual package. You will buy, for example, boxes of glasses or large carton containers of furniture, and when you need to put a purchase order, the supplier actually more interested in how many boxes you'll buy, how many packages you'll buy. So here you can put in the quantity per package. For example, here I'm actually having 10 in each package. So this will automatically run up and calculate that you actually need to order 4 packages in your purchase orders. We are also rolling out some enhancements in the purchase orders per the popular demands of our users, and to have more flexible, for example, payment terms on your invoice and purchase order, as well as standard notes that you can attach to those documentations. So please expect those new features to roll out either by the end of this month or later next month. Before I open up the Q&A, would like to also mention that we are hiring. We're actually hiring. Our team is expanding very fast, and we want to call out for talents who have strong interest in their, architectural design or construction management, procurement, or hospitality sector, and want to disrupt the industry with us with new technology. We are hiring content marketing, product marketing specialists to partner with Ingrid, and as well as a solution implementation analyst who will join our customer success team to implement the Fohlio solution to match the ideal workflow that our clients are looking for. So there are also a lot of openings coming up. So if you are interested, or you know anyone who might be a good fit for us, I really appreciate you let us know or spread the word for us. Okay, so that's it all from my side. Let's look at the Q&A.
We already have a lot of questions.
Okay, so Ingrid, yeah, please.
All right, so let's start with Aaron Bridwell. Can the plugin take advantage of custom tag data if added to materials inside of a structure like a wall structure? And Kirill already answered this, but do you mind repeating it so that everyone can hear, please?
Oh, yeah, of course, no problem. Actually, I think right now it's not implemented because there was no call for it, but we can do that. In order to implement it, we need a more precise description of what you actually want to extract. If it's just all the layers of a wall or other structure that may contain structural layers, we can do it, but it should be justified, and I think just be more direct and describe in details, and we'll do it.
Cool. Let's see. From Dasha Hervey. Very good question. Any reliable response times we can rely on when we need help, because sometimes a delay in response really hinders the ability to work quickly. So I'm going to pass this on to Hui Bien, although this should also already be partially answered by we are hiring people, so hopefully we get better with that. But Hui Bien, anything additional there?
Yes, I mean, that's one of the reasons we're hiring. And I appreciate your patience with us and raise this concern with us. We try our best to answer any questions as soon as possible on the live chat. And related to your question, any idea when the Pinterest application to import image will be fixed? Actually, that is really pending on Pinterest. Unfortunately, Pinterest API dev team have made some changes on their policy, and for some reason they have been blocking our applications. We have been trying to communicate with them, haven't heard back from them yet. It's a large organization, but if we have any progress with the Pinterest API team, we can get approval. We will let you know.
From David Foch, am I saying your name right? How easy is it to fix bad mappings? Meaning, if I map to the wrong Fohlio attribute and don't realize, Fouché, thank you, David, and don't realize it until later, I will take your follow-up question later. We actually had a situation like this earlier. Homan, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So basically, all you have to do is just repeat the process immediately, as we mentioned in the demo, that you're options will be remembered by the adding. So you can immediately just click everything and realize where would you just edit that exact mapping and just choose the new one. Just remember to pay attention on the folio as well in case the item gets repeated, because it may not immediately recognize that you changed it from one division to another. And do we handle versioning? Do you mean by versioning what kind of versions per Revit, like which version the adding works on Revit? At the moment, it works at version 2020, and we're planning to support 21 and 2022 as well. Yes.
Excuse me, may I add a little bit?
Yeah.
Actually, we can use our plugin on Revit 2019 as well. And I think, yeah, it's almost ready for 2021. And actually, there'll be no problem in remapping and there'll be no conflict at all. I think right now, it just that element will be just reassigned and you won't have to do anything else.
Okay, question from Dmitro Kravchenko. It would be convenient if that would have been possible to transfer web links of products into web link parameters in Revit Materials. I don't think I got that question, Dmitro. Do you want to try
think
again?
so. Actually, I do think so. Carl, correct me if I'm wrong.
About exporting materials from
Web links. Yeah. So yeah, actually, if you look at their Q&A button, there's a lot more substance. That
products in the Revit web link parameter materials. Oh, I see what he means. Well, actually, I think in Revit Materials, I'd like to. We can do it. It won't take long. Is it? But it's still kind of. You see, right now, when you export an element from Revit, it's just like a real element. Since a material in Revit is more like an abstract concept, we need to understand how we're going to map that whole process. So maybe if you select a wall and let's say you want to see among other properties of that wall, some properties relevant to every material in every layer, yes, that can be done. And actually it's a good idea and it's good suggestion. Thank you. We'll work on it.
For Monica, what happens if you have to change tags in Fohlio? What would happen in Revit? Monica, which tags did you mean? Like, do you mean your internal tags?
your drawing, the text on your this drawing. If you can type, yes, she said yes.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, there's no direct syncing from Fohlio to Revit. So if you change something on Fohlio, it will not be affected on Revit. However, if you do the other way around and you chose that parameter to be exported, then it will be updated.
Yeah, that's a very interesting workflow question. We definitely have heard, people ask, okay, can you next phase send it from Fohlio into Revit, because it's much easier to add your material parameters and those informations in Fohlio and keep your Revit model light. I'd love to continue to explore this with our customers. So do feel free to reach out and we can talk a little bit more about this. And David, Fohlio.
Yeah, follow up from David Fohlio. I didn't mean versions of Revit, I mean versions of data send or receive. For example, architect work, sends data to Fohlio, keeps working, sends new batch of data. Does Fohlio know the differences? And can you show me the differences? That's a really good question.
Carl, what do you
I
think?
think, to be honest, it's not a big deal, and we can track it. But what value we'll get from that information? Can you imagine how much data you're going to work with after all those changes? Because usually there happens so many of them during course of a project. And how would you like to see it? I think it's not just a matter of implementation, it's just the way you'd like to visualize the data, to have the data visualized for you so that you can easily see and kind of interpret that data correctly.
Mm. I mean, yeah, it's a very interesting question with a very interesting answer. And fundamentally, when we see, future, requests or questions from users, we try to dig a little bit deeper. Okay, what's the commercial value and business reason behind it? And so that we can work together and come up with the ultimate solution that would answer the fundamental business needs. And so I hope we somehow answer your question. We did, technically, I think we did store actually all the changes. There is a basically, logs of what has been changed, etc. So we do store all the changes of the different items. If I make changes, you can see that things are locked here. So technically, yes, we can do it. But in terms of, okay, how to present it and use it by the user, and that's another question, yeah. So, and also question from Dimitri Kravchenko, I'm sorry if I slaughtered your name. Would like to have live connection between Fohlio tag and Revit tag. That's a good one, too.
Since tags in Revit are just extract some information from parameters of a particular element, this is actually what we do. I'm not sure about live connection. Is it really necessary? Because as you saw previously, you can just synchronize your data when it's necessary. Because if we edit the so-called live connection, that would be unnecessary load on your model. And as we all know, Revit is a very computational intensive application in terms of computation, and I don't think that it would be a good idea to maintain a live connection.
So there was a question from Dasha Hervey. I'm afraid it's a little bit big. Is there a way to create an undo command so we can undo mistakes entered? I'm guessing this would be a mistake regarding mapping, which we did address a little earlier. You can just redo it. But if you meant something else, Dasha, please let us know.
Yeah, I mean, Dasha, I have heard similar asks from other users. It's definitely a very good feature to have. So I don't want to dive into too much technical detail. Why we have some, we need to think a little bit deeper with how to execute it properly. But in terms of text field, if you actually, for example, type in a string in any text-based field, I believe that depends on whether you're on a Mac or on a PC, as you can use Control-Z to undo it. And if there's something that, that's a little bit a lot of tags that you want to undo, one way to actually is look at the history. So by looking at the history, you see what has changed, and then you can copy and paste the previous one back. I mean, it's not as easy as Excel, you can undo multiple times, but this is one way that you can look back, okay, what did I actually erase? And what was the historical input, and you can revert back. But there's some fields, for example, like area mapping or quantity mapping, that's a little bit difficult to execute because it's not just a straight input on our system. It's more like a data array, a grid and database. So that's a little bit more difficult to actually execute. I'll keep that in mind. If we come up with some great solutions, I will let you know. And then, is there any other questions?
Actually, I do have one. Nobody asked it here, but I know that this is a question that a lot of potential users want to ask. Do we have plans of integrating with other BIM software like ArchiCAD?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely, yes. Like, we do have a long list of integrations, software to integrate with, from architectural drafting software to construction management software, to like, financial ERP software. Yeah, that's why we are actually hiring.
Yep. And then for Monica, if you recall the webinar where I, meaning Monica, was a guest, it was mentioned that it would be good if drafters could use more simple families in Revit and have all the parameters of the item in Fohlio. How does that work with this integration right now? My impression is that all the information comes from Revit into Fohlio. Is this correct?
Well, that is correct. Most of the information comes from Revit. Like the ultimate goal of the adding is that you get all the information that you need from your project, including quantities, locations, areas, other names, like even types of that family. And then you just immediately replace them with items, real items and products from your library.
Yeah, just replace from library, like, something that also, suggested from our users. Imagine you export the basic family information, their location and accounts from Revit into your Fohlio project dashboard, and then you can use replace from library and just like, with the item that has been approved, and that's, you can quickly get the more actual specs and budget planning.
From Valerie, does the Revit integration recognize new information added in Revit versus just updating information? This seems like a version of a question that was asked earlier. Are we able to tell if something did change?
Yes, it can be in that way. If that information was selected, then yes, it will be updated. If that, of course, by information, I mean that exact parameter. So if you're adding more parameters and you haven't selected these parameters before, it's not basically updating. So you have to select these parameters first, and then you can just sync it again, let's say, with Fohlio.
I think what she was trying to ask was not whether we can update if we make changes in Revit, but whether there would be some indication that, oh, something did change in Revit, and can this Revit integration indicate that somehow?
Yeah.
May I answer that question?
Of course.
Yep, thank you. I think right now there is no indication whether the information has been updated or has just been uploaded, but we kind of track that all those changes, and we can add some sort of indications that that particular element has just been synchronized, maybe by highlighting it with, I don't know, maybe green, and to indicate that another element has just been updated by highlighting it with blue. It's, I think it's just also a matter of visualizing the changes at yeah, I think if it's necessary, and actually it's interesting to know what I'm trying to achieve by kind of because there'll be so many synchronizations, and let's say you synchronize, you updated some elements, you added maybe another 2 elements, and you can see it only once. I think the whole idea boils down to just keeping track of changes, so that you can kind of like in history log, you can see when it was uploaded first and all the changes that have been done to that particular element next. And by that you can kind of see whether it was uploaded only today or it was uploaded first like 2 weeks ago.
Cool. There's no more questions. And actually, I forgot to announce another new features we're working on the pipeline, which is a more advanced, actually, permission controls by projects and dashboards. So some of you might constantly work with like, consultants from, other firms, or different studios would should only have limited access to some projects, or they don't even need to have access to other projects that are being done by other studio within the same company. So the new features would allow the admin to control which user have even view edit or no access to any particular projects, as well as at the dashboard level. So some of our customers have been using dashboard to collaborate workflow between different teams. So like designers are using one dashboard, and the procurement team will use the other dashboard, etc. So the new permission control would allow the admin to control exactly which dashboard which team would only have access to, so they don't necessarily mess around about a team's data or see some sensitive information that shouldn't be shared across the board. So I hope this helps. And I guess there's no more questions. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and also the amazing questions and get us thinking. And please do message us on the chat if you have any other suggestions, or you want to know a bit more by booking a meeting with us. And then stay tuned for our future release as well as webinars. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.